Hey folks, Ashley, allthingsdentistry.com. In front of you see a surgeon's knot, otherwise known as a reef knot or a square knot. We tie this, use this to, after we're completed our suturing, to tie the suture and approximate tissue together. Now, when you're doing it in the oral cavity, the oral mucosa, the tongue's in the way, the cheeks are in the way, the suction's in the way. If you've been out of practice using the hemostats, it gets frustrating, and what seems to be the simplest procedure, supposed to be the simplest, becomes the most difficult. So I was given a hint to tie the knot with your hands, extraoral, and then take it in, and then slide it down the suture into the oral cavity to your tissue. All right, let's get cracking. How do we tie this? So remember, what we're looking for is to have a nice square knot that will keep our tissue approximated. So let's pretend this is my suture material. We're using rope because it's a lot easier to see and a lot easier to practice. So this is my suture needle on here. I'm going to take it with my hemostats through my tissue and bring it out. And now I'm pretend I'm going to be extraoral. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my right hand. So I'm going to place some tension on the tissue, not too much because of course the mucosa tears easily. And what I want to do is I want to apply some pressure on the palm of my hand with my fourth and fifth finger. And now what I do is, so my suture is going to be overlying my index finger. Now what I really want to do is I want to make a loop and to tie, so essentially that's how I want to tie it. But the suture material is so tiny that it's really difficult to simply tie it, or with chromic gut or a gut, it's flailing all over the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that loop. So I'm going to take my left hand, this left lead, bring it onto underneath, continue that loop. So you see this is the loop I'm talking about. So now I have a loop, almost a continuous loop. So with my left hand, bring that under my index finger, and then bring my thumb to close this guy can't get out. So we'll see that again. I have tight pressure on my right hand with my ring finger and my fifth finger, applying some pressure, so you can see I'm applying some to keep the strand fairly taut, and I roll it over it's rolling over my index finger. And now I'm going to bring my left hand, the strand in, and then close the little gap between my index finger and my thumb. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin my thumb through, and I want to catch this. So let's see that again. What I want to do is, so we have it here. I'm going to flick, so it's a flick of the wrist almost. So I keep my fingers contacting together. I'm going to bring my thumb through the loop, and with my left hand I want to bring the strand through my index finger, my thumb, and then I want to spin it through. And that's going to make the first knot or throw. Let's see that one more time. So index finger taut. We're going to close the loop by bringing the left strand in. I close my finger and my index finger, my thumb. And I'm not touching the rope right now, touching the suture material. I'm just going to put it so my thumb is poking through. It's almost like, what's that other knot? Rabbit hole, around the tree, down the hole, up the tree. And then I lie this between the two. So I take my left hand now, bring that strand, get it between my index finger and my thumb finger, and then bring my wrist back. So my wrist is going first out and then back in, if you may. So then I pull that strand out, and there's my first throw. So for the second throw, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to use on my right hand, I still have tension right here. My right hand, I'm going to use my thumb, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to we're going to make another loop. So I'm going to bring the left strand over my thumb, close my thumb and index finger, and we're going to spin that finger back through and catch the rope. So let's see that one more time. So I now have, so initially the first throw was the rope was over my index finger. Now we're going to switch it and bring it over my thumb. I haven't let go of the rope, it hasn't changed. The rope is over my thumb. I'm going to bring to make another loop. So the left hand comes over. Index finger touches the thumb, and we're going to do the wrist flick so I can, now the rabbit, for other ways to describe it, the little rabbit that's coming through the hole is my index finger. On the first one it was my thumb. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to catch the left strand between the two fingers, the index finger and the thumb, and bring that through and pull it through. And then down it goes, and let's just check to see if we have our square knot. And there you go. So let's go through that one more time really slowly. So I'm grasping the rope or the suture material with my right hand, my fifth finger and fourth finger, and we're going to apply tension. We're going to bring it over my index finger, and now we want to make that first loop. So the first loop is the big loop. I'm going to bring the left strand, approximate it next to the right rope. Close my thumb and index finger. And what we want to do is now we want to pretend this is the little rabbit that wants to come through the hole, which is my thumb. So the rabbit comes up and is looking for the strand of the rope. Pick it up with I bring the left hand over, grasp it between the thumb and the index finger, and bring the rope back down. The rabbit goes up, gets up, goes through the hole, gets the rope and goes back down the hole. That's the first throw. And now the second one is going to be on my thumb. So remember, the first one was on my finger, the next one was on my thumb. And now we want to make another loop. So I bring the left hand over, close the index finger and the thumb. Now this is the rabbit, so the rabbit goes through the hole. You pick up the rope, the left hand rope, so all I did was bring it over. I picked it up there. Now we're going to take the rope back. The rabbit's going to take the rope back through the hole. And then we just check to make sure. I mean, when you're practicing, it is fairly important to make sure that you have the right throws. Now we're going to throw another one, and I want to show you what you can be looking for to make sure that your throws are proper. So I'm just going to do this fairly quick. So what's going to happen is that when you start tying them, a whole chain of them, you're going to start seeing them like this. You'll be like, oh, I've done it wrong. But what you really need to do is to readjust the strand. So you just need to readjust the rope, and you'll find out that indeed you're right. It's going to start to look like, initially it'll look like this, but if you take this piece and flip it over, and this is just to double check that you have the throws right. You can see there's your square knot right there. So there's the two that are going under one loop and the two that are coming out underneath, and there's the other loop coming out. So there you go. Hope that helps. Practice lots. Cheers.